Later.
Hello, everybody. My name's Patrick, and I lost at fantasy football.
You suck!
Now that I made that feel like an AA meeting, I guess we can get started. But no, in all seriousness, I came in dead last in fantasy football, which is even more embarrassing, considering half the league was foreigners. Half the guys are from Ireland and England. They have a completely definition of a tight end, so completely different than ours. So I went back and I looked at the draft, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I did terrible in the draft. I don't know what I did. Scrambled eggs in my head, but it was a shit show. Turns out that I did lose, came in dead last, so here doing stand-up for you all. It's supposed to be a punishment for myself, but I do feel more sorry for you guys. And I do apologize because you did say 5 minutes, but I had 10 losses, so I have to be here for 10 minutes. I'm not coming up here twice. So can you extend the timer twice? I'm not coming back up here, so 2 birds, 1 stone is my theory, so we're going to go with that. But, you know, I was talking about how half our guys are Irish and English, and a couple years ago, my wife and I went to Ireland, and it was a great trip. If any of you get to go, it's a great time, beautiful country. We rented a car, we drove cross country, did the whole loop. It was a great time. And about halfway through, we ended up in a town called Doolin, little town on the west coast, great time. And we find ourselves sitting in the back of the bar. And as we're sitting there, next to us is a young couple and their priest, which is probably normal for Ireland. I don't know, you guys can probably chime in, but that's probably where they host all their marriage counseling sessions. And it probably works better, honestly, once you're a few pints in. I'm sure the counseling really flows. It's just a better scenario when you're all liquored up, the truth's coming out, and they were probably divorced, honestly, but I'm sure it worked for them. And we're sitting there, and well, before we get there, to preface the story, I'm a big Office fan. I don't know if we have any Office fans here tonight. Really big fan of The Office. So I was big on the "That's What She Said" train for a long time. Everything my wife said, I finished with "That's what she said." And you really feel powerful when you end a sentence with "That's what she said." I find it hilarious every time. Nobody else in the room laughs at all, but it really doesn't matter to me. I don't give a shit because I fucking laugh my ass off every time I finish with "That's what she said." But we're sitting in the back of the pub, and we're sitting next to the couple and the priest, and my wife and I are just having a conversation, and I'm like, this couple's like odd. It's a really weird couple. I say to her, like, this guy's way too young. And she says to me, that's what the priest said. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, first of all, I'm side-eyeing the fuck out of Father Tim because I want to make sure he didn't hear her. Like, what the fuck did she just say? Like, she just said next to the priest, that's what the priest said. And I wanted to make sure that he didn't hear her. And I was just blown away. First of all, I was proud that my wife went to the dark side and finally joined my "That's What She Said" train because she hated it before. But now it's the family joke. We all say that's what the priest said. We're going to get T-shirts made, hats made, cups made. We're going to be millionaires by the end of the year probably. We're going to have it trademarked. It's tougher when you're hanging out with all the Irish guys and English guys. Some of those jokes probably hit too close to home. I'm sorry if we do accidentally let a "That's What the Priest Said" slip. I don't know if it was you, a relative, brother, cousin. I'm sorry. So hopefully I get a pass from here on out for the "That's What the Priest Said."
It was Nikki.
But while we're on the topic of cults, I recently found out that I'm in a cult. Or I should rephrase that. I recently discovered that I've been in a cult for 3 to 4 years. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. It's called Peloton. It's a great time. It's not like crazy ass shit. We're not on like Jim Jones or Waco level, but we're sneaking up on CrossFitters. So we're getting there. We're really closing in on the CrossFitters, which is obviously the logical progression of cults. You go Jim Jones, Waco, CrossFitters, Peloton, vegans, Weight Watchers. Like, that's just obviously how you measure your cultism. And like I said, I didn't really even discover that we were in a cult until a couple weeks ago. I was doing a class, and it was with an Irish Peloton instructor named Daniel McKenna, and this is my opportunity to butcher an Irish accent, but Daniel was on the treadmill, and I'm running with Daniel, and Daniel was, doing his regular spiel, blah, 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 and all of a sudden he says, you know, fellas, Peloton really saved my life, and I really want to thank each and every one of my brothers and sisters, because each of you have been there for me every single minute, and without you, I wouldn't have been here today. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of crazy ass shit am I getting myself into? Because I just came here to run, and this guy's now fucking yelling at me like Joel Osteen. I didn't sign up for this bullshit. But that got my mind spinning, and it was just like, yeah, every time you meet somebody, you're like, oh, I got a Peloton. They're like, oh, you got a Peloton? I'm like, I got a Peloton. And then like they pull you aside, they're like, oh, like, which instructor do you do? What's your output? I'm like, I don't fucking, like, I don't, sure. Like, we're measuring my cultism now, and I just met you. Calm down, buddy. But yeah, I guess it's okay. It keeps me healthy. My wife likes it, but it's fine.
Healthy part of the Peloton.
But speaking of healthy, I recently somehow signed up for the Chicago Marathon. I don't know how that happened. I think I blacked out during the sign up, but I got picked, and now I got to run that fucking death trap. But it's just a wild scenario. Yeah. I'm just gonna think about it for a minute and really regret my life choices. But we signed up. It should be a great time. Just like Phidippides, I'm sure I'll die at the end. I don't know who thought it was a good idea that this guy runs 26.2 miles and then dies, and then the best way to honor him is to run 26.2 miles again. Just a terrible fucking decision. It's just stupid. Like, I mean, on the same premise, like lighting 4th of July fireworks and demolition derbies are going to be Olympic sports in 2026. Like, they're all just so stupid, and you have the same chance of dying and getting hurt at the end. Like, it makes no sense to me. But we're going to run, and my wife and I were watching video the other day, and well, I guess I should preface this by saying that I only have 2 fears about running the marathon. And neither of them are even running the actual marathon. The first one is in the prep. My big fear is losing my dad bod. I've worked 29 and a half years on this fucking masterpiece of a dad bod. I just accessorized it 10 months ago when I finally had a kid. And it became a dad bod. Like before that, I was just like a semi-chubby dude, and now I have a dad bod, and like people can recognize and process the dad bod, and they're like, wow, like, that guy's on point. Like, perfect dad bod, not too fat, not too skinny. I'm sure he has a kid. And 11 months ago, they would have been wrong. They're like, no, I'm just kind of a fat guy. But now, perfect. Like, you unmatched dad bod. So all this marathon prep, I'm getting it skinny fat. Like, probably, maybe a little bit more skinny than fat, but it's gonna be terrible. I'm gonna have a kid, and I'm gonna be like, oh, that guy's skinny. Like, it's not his. He probably either stole it or it's adopted. It's just not his kid. And then the other downside is like, I mean, being the small spoon is just not going to be fun for my wife. Like, when I'm the small spoon, like she's like, oh, what is it, clicker? And I'm like, no, that's my ribcage. No, you're just feeling my bone. Like that's, she's not going to like that. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, oh, this fucking loser's the small spoon? No, don't hate it. Don't fucking hate it. Any guy that tells you that they're the big spoon, they're either a fucking liar or their wife is bald. Because if their wife has hair, they're gonna die while they're the fucking large spoon. They're gonna suffocate on that fucking large ass mound of hair that they're fucking face to face with for 12 hours at night. If you get 12 hours of sleep, I don't know, but you're gonna fucking die. So small spoon's where it's at. You stay warm. You sleep comfortably. It's a great time. So you know, first fear, losing the dad bod. Second fear, well, let's walk into it and apologize. I won't go too long, but my wife and I were watching a video of a marathon the other day, and I saw this woman running, and she had a big brown streak down her leg. And I said, what happened to her? And with a straight face, my wife told me that she had pooped her pants. And I don't know what was scarier, the fact that she was just nonchalantly telling me this lady pooped her pants, or the fact that I could be a poop to panter, which is scary, I think, very, very scary. And so, you know, now my mind is running. I'm like, I don't want to shit my pants when I run this marathon coming up next October. So, logical thing to do, I Google search how to not poop your pants when running a marathon, which is fine. That's a fine search history, right? And I go to the #1 resource, which is Reddit. All of the good information that you need to get is from Reddit. And obviously, there's a stream on Reddit on how to not poop your pants when running 26.2 miles. Unfortunately, though, the #1 comment was, just prepare like you're doing butt stuff. And I wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole. I could not follow up that search history with how to prepare for butt stuff. Because I can explain the how to not poop your pants Google search history to my wife. But I can't explain the how to do butt stuff and how to prepare for butt stuff to my wife. That Google search history would not have gone down well. That would have been awkward. So yeah, number two fear is pooping your pants. But I'm sure I'll be here in 12 months from now when I suck again and I can't draft for shit. So I'll tell you guys all about my marathon experience and how I shit my pants then. But thank you very much. Hope you all have a great evening.
Keep it going for Patrick. First time on stage, my man brings 400 people to the Hungry Tiger. It does 90 minutes with no notes. What the He's got t-shirts and a catchphrase. What the fuck? All right. Who's here with the